Be inspired. Be blessed. Subscribe to the Wind Hover. For inquiries, call the Philippine Jesuit Aid Association at telephone numbers 426-6001, locals 4890 or 4892. Once again, Philippine Jesuit Aid Association, telephone numbers 426-6001, locals 4890 or 4892.
Keep the Word of God strong in our lives. Keep the spirit of hope and the grace of healing alive every day. Keep the faith. Join us every morning for the celebration of the Holy Eucharist with the Jesuits from the Philippine province. Keep the faith. Daily Mass with the Jesuits streams from Monday to Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning on Radyo Katipunan's Facebook page, YouTube channel, Twitter feed, and other social media partners. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
You're listening to the voice of the Blue Eagle.
You know what it is. Ateneo Campus Radio.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9.
It's time for the music class. Join us for an evening of learning music and appreciating the art behind every hum, tune, and beat. Listen to engaging performances and insights from some of the top and upcoming musicians in the scene today. Tune in every Tuesday evening here on The Music Class. Let the music class begin.
Join Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as he delivers to us the preachings of the Sunday's Gospel that's awe-inspiring yet easy to understand and appreciate. Let us all listen to the Word of God here on The Word Exposed on Air, only on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Susunod na ang Baka Naman Pwede sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo Katipunan. Radyo, 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 radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, radyo Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, radyo Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng kwela. Radyo, radyo, radyo Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugod, todo sa kayon, tulong at tulog. Lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting nagigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, radyo, radyo Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede?
Baka naman pwede. Mga isyung napapanahon ating pag-usapan. Baka naman pwede. Gamit ang mga pananaw mula sa iba't ibang kalinangan.
Baka naman pwede.
Mula sa Institute of Philippine Culture, kami inyong samahan, tayo'y maghuntahan. Dito lang sa
Baka naman pwede.
Tuwing Huwebes, alas 3 ng hapon, dito lang sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Magandang hapon sa lahat. Nakikinig kayo ngayon sa Baka Naman Pwede. isang programa ng Institute of Philippine Culture at ng Radyo Katipunan na naglalayong pagnilayan ang mga napapanahong issue gamit ang lente ng agham panlipunan o social sciences. Naisin natin mapagkwentuhan ng mga bagay na baka naman pwede nating tignan muli, pag-ukulan ng pansin at aksyonan. Ako si Missy Maramara ng Ateneo Department of Fine Arts at ako ang inyong magiging host sa hapong ito. Noong nakarang episode, kasama natin sina Dr. Maricris Asido, Dr. Daniel Ochoa, at Dr. Nino Leviste para pag-usapan ng kalagayan ng mga Filipino values sa ating mga kabataan. Ayon kay Dr. Ochoa, mas pinahahalagahan ngayon ng ating mga kabataan ang autonomy o self-direction, kung saan mas importanteng pinili nila ang kanilang ginagawa. Paglilinaw niya, hindi naman ito nangangahulugan na pagiging makasarili sapagkat pinahahalagahan din naman ng mga kabataan ang pamilya, kapwa, relihiyon, bayan at iba pa. Bagamat dapat ay pinili nila ito. Sa usapin naman ng pagiging relihiyoso, dinagdag din niyang kailangang magkaroon ng pag-break away ng Filipino values sa Catholicism, alang-alang na rin sa iba't ibang relihiyong pinapractice sa bansa. Binigyan diin naman ni Dr. Asido na bagamat importanteng i-revisit ang mga pagpapahalagahang Pilipino, lalo na sa mga kabataan, dala na rin ng mga nangyayari sa ating bansa at epekto ng social media, kulang ang mga spaces for conversations sa mga pamayanan para pag-usapan ang mga issue ng mas malalim at makabuo ng sariling framework sa pag-unawa ng ating value system. Dagdag ni Dr. Asido, mahalagang magkaroon ng community of inquiry kasama ang mga bata sa pagtuturo ng values at discipline para i-encourage silang mag-isip at magtanong at ma-develop sa kanila ang sense of commitment at agency. Sinang-ayunan naman ito ni Dr. Ochoa at binigyang diin ang halaga ng critical thinking sa pagtuturo ng values at hindi ang nakasanayang passive obedience na gusto ng mga makapangyarihan. At para sa mga gustong balikan ang mga nakaraang episodes ng Baka Naman Pwede, mangyari lamang na bisitahin ang Facebook page ng Institute of Philippine Culture at ng Radyo Katipunan. Ngayong hapon bilang pagpupugay at pag-alala sa naging kontribusyon ni Dr. Ricky Abad sa sining ng pag-arte at teatro, makakasama natin sina Sir Ronan Capinding ng Ateneo Junior High School at Dr. Judy ng UP Department of English and Comparative Literature. Si Dr. Ricky Abad ay mahabang nanungkulan bilang artistic director at moderator ng Tanghalang Ateneo. Naging artistic director ng Arete at founding director ng Ateneo Fine Arts, bukod pa sa pagiging sociologist. Sa mga manonood natin sa Facebook, pwede kayong sumali sa aming kwentuhan. Mangyari lang, i-type ang inyong mga komento at katanungan sa comment section at babasahin namin ang mga ito sa ating Q&A portion mamaya. Hayaan niyong ipakilala ko sa inyo ang ating unang bisita. Bukod sa pagiging guro sa Filipino, si Sir Ronan Capinding ay ang Assistant Principal for Formation ng Ateneo Junior High School. Isa rin siyang aktor, direktor, manunulat at tagasalin ng mga dulang pantanghalan. At nakapagturo na rin siya ng mga kurso sa acting at directing sa theater program ng Ateneo Fine Arts Department. Siya rin ay naging Filipino Subject Area Coordinator at Student Activities Coordinator ng Ateneo Junior High School. Itinatag din niya ang Teatro Bagong Tao at INDAC, mga student organizations sa junior high school at senior high school. Regular din siyang hurado sa Carlos Palanca Awards for Literature. Nakasama niya si Dr. Ricardo Abad sa Tanghalang Ateneo, sa Fine Arts Theater Arts Program, role players at iba pa. Sa ating mga tagapakinig at manonood, bigyan natin ng masigabong virtual na palakpakan si Sir Ronan Capinding. Welcome sa Baka Naman Pwede, Sir Ron.
Maraming salamat. Pinabati ko lahat ng mga nakikinig at nanonood dito sa Baka Naman Pwede. Salamat sa pag-anyaya sa akin.
Ngayon naman, ipapakilala ko sa inyo ang ating pangalawang bisita. Dr. Judy Celine is a professor and the chairperson of the Department of English and Comparative Literature at the University of the Philippines in Diliman. She is a founding member and current vice chairperson for the Asian Shakespeare Association. She authored Unsex Me Here, Female Power and Shakespearean Tragedy, and co-edited with Mary Roseles, Bearers of Benevolence, the Thomasites and Public Education in the Philippines, which won the National Book Award in 2002. Dr. Judy Ick has published articles on Shakespeare, performance, colonial education, and the history of Shakespeare in the Philippines. Her most recent book, Shakespeare's Asian Journeys, Critical Encounters, Cultural Geographies, and the Politics of Travel, co-edited with Beatrice Lay and Poonam Trivedi, was released by Routledge in 2017. As an actor and dramaturg, she has worked with several academic and professional theater companies in the Philippines and Asia. Sa ating mga tagapakinig at manonood, bigyan natin ng masigabong virtual na palakpakan si Dr. Judy Ick. Welcome sa Baka Naman Pwede, Miss Judy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Missy. Very happy to be here. Medyo sad occasion, but happy topic.
Yes, indeed. Maraming salamat muli sa pagtanggap sa aming imbitasyon ngayong hapon. At katulad ng nabanggit kanina, ito ay episode tungkol nga sa ating pag-alala, no? Hindi lang nating tatlo, ng buong Ateneo at ng buong theater community sa naging legacy ni Dr. Ricky Abad nung nabubuhay pa siya. Bago tayo magsimula, baka naman pwede niyo muna kaming kwentuhan ng kung ano-ano mga pinagkakaabalahan ninyo nitong mga nakalipas na araw. What's been keeping you busy these days? Dr. Judy?
Ako, nothing much. Alam ko si Ron meron. Ako kasi nag-check lang ng papel, deadline ng grades namin next week.
Kasi kakatapos lang ng finals, no?
Yeah. So, nag-check po. Czech Republic ang ginagawa.
Buti na lang you have time for us. Thank you so much, Dr. Ick. Sir Ron?
Ano naman, kasama, ako ay assistant principal ngayon, kaya hindi ako nag-check. Pero marami rin ginagawa dito. Pero kasalukuyan akong gumagawa ng dula namin na sana makahabol kayo. May ilan pang mga bakanting upuan. Komprontasyon sa Peta Theater po. May palabas kami sa Sabado ng hapon, 3 p.m. Sabado ng gabi, 8 p.m. At Linggo ng hapon, 3 p.m. Maliban doon, at hindi totoo yung sabi ni Dr. Judy, busy rin si Dr. Judy helping us, tayo, pati ikaw, Missy, sa pagbuo ng February 4 tribute para kay Dr. Ricky Abad sa magaganap sa Arete, sa Yonday Theater, sa ganap na 3 p.m. Linggo yun, February 4, Abad for the Ages, ang aming papagat. So, abangan niyo po yan. Lalabas pa yung mga posters namin. So yung dalawang nakapila on top of my full-time job as assistant principal for formation sa junior high.
Panuorin niyo po si Sir Ron. Kasama niya po doon ay ang asawa ni Dr. Judy na si Terry Guzman. Kasama rin niya si Sherry Lara at si Romy
At si Missy
Sarmiento.
Maramara. At kasama rin
Ayun,
namin si
ang
Missy Maramara.
hinihintay ko.
Alam ko na yun ang binibigwit mo kanina pa, pero bibigay ko sa'yo. Yeah, marami po
Pero
kami
maganda
nandun
yung-
na baka kilala nyo. Sana mahabol nyo. Ngayong weekend na lang po.
Sa Peta Theater, no? Peta Theater ito. At ako feeling ko matutuwa si Sir Ricky if he were alive today to see such material. No? Kasi talaga namang nakaka-strengthen ng political will and critical thinking. But, before we proceed with politics and all that lovely things, para sa inyo, sino ba si Dr. Ricky Abad? How did you meet him? What was your experience with him? What was your relationship with him? And how did it develop over the years? How did he influence you as a professional, as an educator, as a scholar, as a person?
Okay, mauna na ba ako? Several questions. No? Maybe I'll answer one or two of those questions. Baka pare-pare naman sagot ko. Well, of course, you're asking me, so sino si Ricky para sa akin? So biased talaga ako. Ricky is a pillar of Philippine theater. And I think pag di ka pa dumaan sa kanya, hindi ka pa magaling. So that would, ibig sabihin na you'll have to experience the analysis that you go through as a part of the production, and even the analysis that he implies na hindi niya sinabi sa inyo once it's done. and you become more appreciative of the power of theater, its power to change. And then also natatrain din yung isip mo because when he gives notes, you understand that it comes from an understanding that is quite sophisticated, no? So, para sa akin si Ricky ay pillar Philippine theater at buti na lang meron siyang maraming ginawa para marami ring makaranas ng karanasang Ricky Abad. And how did we meet? Siguro dito lang, pagkatapos ito, papasok ko na muna kay Dr. Judy kasi I can go on and on, no? How did we meet? I met him when I was first year college. Ako po ay probinsyano. And in the province, yung eskwelahan ko, I was already member of the drama club. So I joined the drama club here, Tangalang Ateneo. So akala ko kung sino lang, may moderator kami until I didn't need to deal with him. I just know that he is the moderator. Ang nakapalibot sa kanya noon ay mga seniors, upperclassmen. Ako ay freshman. Pero within the first sem, nilapitan ako at tinatawag ko, hoy, pinapatawag ka ni Ricky Abad. Sabi ng mga J. Estor, yung mga Eboy, at kinausap ko si Ricky Abad. Kasi noon, nagpanggap ako na meron akong kakambal. Being very new in the campus, meron akong kakambal. Para pag hindi ko binabati yung mga ayaw kong batiin dahil nahihiya ako, ang excuse ko, baka hindi ako yun. And pumatok siya hanggang sa dulo ng first sem, si Ricky nabalitaan na may kakambal ako. He called for me. At sabi niya, meron ka raw kakambal. Matagal ko nang pangarap gawin yung Minecmus Twins. Hindi po siya umaarte. Hindi kailangan. Yung isa lang naman na maraming role doon. Hanggang inamin ko na. Doon niya ako nakilala. Kaya parang, loko-loko to So medyo natuwa siya. In the second sem, nag-research ako for my term paper sa OFW. Tumitingin ako sa catalog talaga. At puro R. Abad. Doon ko nakita na bigwig pala itong moderator namin sa Tangalang Ateneo. At talagang lahat halos ng resources na pwede ko magamit for my term paper then. Siya ang sumulat. So, yun na naman, closely we work together. So, yun yung mga nagpa-special sa relationship namin ni Ricky kahit nung first year ako. So, yun. That's how I met him and got to know him more.
You met this pillar of Philippine theater as an actor and he was a director. And then you also met him as a pillar of sociology in the Philippines.
Yes, yes,
You know,
exactly.
where,
Oo, grabe.
diba,
Pala, ikaw ba to? Siya yan. Kasi magkapangalan Abad naman tsaka Ricardo. Medyo baka common. I can't believe it kasi ano siya, suspenders, naka-jumper, kung maglakad, parang alam mo lang artist, hindi mo alam yung professor mode niya masyado. But,
so na-encounter mo yung two strains of Dr. Abad as an artist and as a scholar.
So
how about
impressive.
you, Dr. A? Who to you is Dr. Abad and how did you meet him?
Yeah, okay. I was thinking about this question and it's parang hard to say like Ricky's a friend. Kasi parang napakakulang nung term na friend to describe my relationship with Ricky. I met him in never mind the year, but the first time we acted together was in Anton Juan's and him. He co-directed the Othello. I played Desdemona and Ricky played Iago. And this was a time where Ricky and I became very, very close immediately backstage because one of the first things we discovered about each other. Up to that point in time, I had never met anyone else who finished a PhD before the age of 30 and then immediately jumped into theater right after, which is something I did, but apparently something Ricky also did. And it wasn't the PhD before 30 that was interesting to me. It was the fact that neither of us had a degree in theater, and neither of us thought it strange. Now, what do you do after a PhD? Abay, mag-artista. Di ba? Di ba? Napaka-stupid na thought, pero pareho kami, ganon. So, I think it became obvious from that point on, we were kind of cut from the same cloth. Na this idea of arts and academe coexisting and really interrelating is something that we both believed in, pushed, pursued. And later on, this developed into our collaboration, especially on his work on Shakespeare, because we were really of the mind now we have to sort of intellectualize our approach to Shakespeare. We have to create sort of these Filipino brand of Shakespeare, and we have to promote this to the world. I mean, there's so much talent in the Philippines. Why are they only talking about Ninagawa and Ong Kang Sen and all these Asian directors? Why are they not talking about Filipino directors and Filipino Shakespeare? So, naging joint project. So, he's really more co-conspirator, collaborator, dear friend. Cut from the same cloth, I guess, is really the way I would describe the way Ricky and I will always be. Yun lang
And
muna.
you said, no, Judy, na he told you, I'll just make the art and you be the one to critique it, right?
Hindi naman sa ganon. Hindi naman sa ganon. It just kind of evolved that way because Ricky sort of was a very interesting director to work with, or theater practitioner, collaborator to work with. Kasi nga, he would be very interested in sort of outside sources, academic sources, things about the play that he would be putting on. Hindi siya napuput off pag binibigyan ko siyang bibliography, binabasa niya talaga lahat. Tapos nagdi-discuss talaga kami. Which is kind of strange. Kasi nga here, parang the artists are hermetically sealed in their own world and very self-referential. Am I allowed to say that? Whereas for Ricky...
As a doctor, Judy, if you may say that.
No,
you
but
have every
may
right.
sino ba yung tinutukoy ni
Diba?
Judy?
To critique.
Self-referential.
To critique the industry.
I am self-referential. Lahat yata
Hindi, yun nga, very open, very open-minded, very sort of like, attuned to the world and to what it really means to be doing plays in the Philippines and what it can be doing. Ganon. So kakaiba si Ricky in that way. So hindi naman ako taga-document lang ni Ricky kasi nagko-collaborate din kami.
Critique. Right? You were able to dramaturge his work.
Yeah, iba pa kasi yung my academic work on Ricky, which is part of a larger project of kind of like writing a history of Shakespeare in the Philippines, of which Ricky is a big part. There's because yung place niya talaga, his body of work is different. It's on a different plane from others. Okay, that's one. It's also, he gives life to my academic work. I mean, alam niyo ba, ako yung nagbigay sa kanya ng kopya ng Sintang Dalisay. Na nahanap ko lang,
J.D. Roque, no?
Oo, nahanap ko lang sa career research, in library, academic research, ganyan. Tapos, sinabi ko sa kanya, oy, there's this 1901 awit, blah, blah, blah. Ayun, the next time I saw it, may may sumasayaw na, ganyan. May nag-iigal na, ganyan. And I saw it through all the versions na 3 actors muna, tas ganyan, nag-grow. So may ganon. And then there's the feeding of each other. Because the other thing I also encouraged Ricky to do was to write scholarship. So about his own work that he didn't think to do. Parang he kept the scholarly side separate. I said, no, Ricky, you have to write about Philippine Shakespeare and Shakespeare in the Philippines and your work because nobody's doing that. So he did naman, pero nung umpisa takot na takot siya. Parang, Judy, ano ba itong post-colonial na to? Ganyan. Ako talaga, ito basahin mo.
Ma'am Judy, my MA, my first MA was on Ricky and his post-colonial work. So someone naman was writing about him, but it's also different when you write about your own work from your perspective. And I must say, si Ricky ang unang nag-isip ng pwedeng ganituhin. Diba? Yung he used his sociological expertise in really approaching his directorial attack on any script, particularly Shakespeare, no?
Para sa akin, that was really apparent na. In fact, yun ang foundation ko. I just experienced other directors, but sila hindi ganon. So, kumbaga, nung lumipat ka na, ay, kulang ng Filipino, like culture, no? Kulang ng ganong connection. It's to museum piece. It's to parang ganon or
The way I distinguish that, Ron, is this idea of writing explaining Shakespeare to Filipinos versus explaining Shakespeare for Filipinos. And I think,
Yes.
di ba? And
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
Ricky was doing. He was explaining it for Filipinos.
I'd like the distinction
Yeah.
also of your
Yeah.
use of Shakespeare in Filipino or Filipino Shakespeare.
Yes.
So I think mas Filipino Shakespeare. I appreciate that very much. No? Tapos na ba si Judy? Kasi I ended up with his as a resource per paper. Para sige, go tuloy.
Sige, continue Ron. Kasi ang dami ng questions. I think I only answered the first.
So pagkatapos nun, lagi na kami kasama lumalabas. I'd like to say, siguro pupunta lang na sasabihin ko. Eventually, of course, bago pumanaw si Ricky, parang co-league na rin siya sa directing, sa role players at lahat-lahat. Kaya Judy, mas gano'n nung una nila pagtatagpo eh. Pero kami ni Ricky, nagsimula yan na para mentor, lagi ka nililibre, hinihingi natin. Pero siya ganong relationship sa amin nun, no? Pero ang napansin niya sa akin, medyo mahilig akong magtanong. I'd like to understand things. Siguro kaya rin Philo yung pinili ko, no? Gusto ko maintindihan, ayaw ko nang parang tanggapin lang ang mga bagay-bagay. And dahil nakita niya gano'n ako, na parang natuwa rin siya sa akin. Pag manunod ng sine, we like to dissect performances, directors, at ganoon. Sabi nga niya, maraming dinner yan, ginagabi kami talaga. Nagkikwentuhan lang ng marami. Tapos tuwa siya kasi ako. Just for an example, no? May isang younger than me na nagtatanong sa kanya, napangakuan ni Ricky na, when you are in fourth year, you will do this classical role. Okay. Pero sa fourth year na siya, Ricky, kala ko ba gagawin ko itong classical role na ito? Parang ganon. Sabi niya, I'm sorry, no? But kasi kala ko para kang magiging Ron eh. Because by Ron, he means yung gutom na gutom at tanong ng tanong. But since natakot ako, baka hindi ka naman masyadong ganun, this will be very hard. So that is what I understand to be Ricky's perception of me. Ito yung tuwang-tuwa at ginatong. Yeah.
And Ron, that reveals a lot about Ricky, him wanting to always see a different perspective, him always wanting to attack a material from a different point of view and to find what makes it original, what makes it Filipino, and how it communicates to the community.
In fact, during my time, parang kami na Ebo yan, parang yun yung time niya na gusto niya yung mga probinsyano, mga mas
kaya
street.
nagkaroon ng Tagalog, di ba?
Oo, parang
kaya nag-shift from English to Tagalog yung Tagalog.
I think nung English yun yung mga first few years din niya sa Tangalang Ateneo eh. Pero parang nung gusto niya maging matapang, kahit siya hindi siya Tagalog speaker. So he was also just learning when he was talking to me. He was fond of hearing us para magaya niya. What does this mean? What does nagundong mean? What ganyan-ganyan? But he plunged into that whole thing.
Ron, would you say that this is a notable contribution of his in Philippine theater, that he championed the use of the Philippine language? And can you expound on that? Parang ano itong contribution ni Ricky na ito?
Of course, pero marami namang gumagawa nun. Like Rolando Tino, may translation siya. I think Tony Mabesa also did that. Pero ang kaibahan ng Filipino ni Ricky, which I think Judy will be talking about later on more, no? But is hindi lang basta language, no? It's sociology. Yung relationship, power, and so ang puhunan niya dyan ay research at immersion. So I think talking with us, nakikipag-usap sa mga waitress, lahat ng yan ang mga kinakausap niya, mga driver, mga barbero, lahat. At kahit kami nga ng mga probinsyano, asking about our provinces, going, sige, punta tayo dyan. So I think that is what he has, no? Not very, it's an experience, no? It's a sociology in action talaga siya, hindi lang siya.
So with his sociological hat, he was able to approach the demographic that he was speaking to, and allow that to inform his theater making. You said
and vice versa, no?
Language and power.
He said in vice versa, hindi lang siya may sociological hat, pupunta siya sa demographic. I think he just plunges in the demographic and brings and constructs his sociology. Because of understanding. So I think
his artist hat was able to flesh it out. Dr. Ick, can you expound? Kasi in-offer ni Sir Ron yung
because ang tanong mo kasi how is anong kaibahan ng kanyang pagfi-Filipino sa kanyang mga dula, no?
Okay. Well, just to connect it first to what Ron was saying about hats. And I think that the thing with Ricky is it all starts with a creativity. I mean, Ricky is an incredibly creative person and wild mag-isip. Walang bawal, which is a great place to start, right? When you're an artist, there's no boundary. But then, after you chat like that, then he puts on sort of this critical lens and says, but wait, what does this mean? How does this, so he sort of like sort of considers the implications of his directorial choices. And I think this is the reason they work very well. Anton Juan and Ricky Abad is a great partnership. Because Anton and Ricky, they share that sort of childlike wildness of imagination. But Ricky's great police, because Ricky will say, "But why did you put the goat there? What does the goat mean?" It's sort of a nice balance.
It tempers the playfulness, no?
Yes, that he has. But the playfulness, I think you have to start from there. All great art and or science begins with a wide imagination, and Ricky had that. Now, to this question of Shakespeare in Filipino, Filipino Shakespeare, I think it's that. Number one, let's be clear, we're not talking about language here. Because simply translating Shakespeare into a Philippine language, and kahit ipagterno mo pa yung mga actors mo, kung inulit mo lang yung Shakespeare, that's just a translation. You're still trying to explain the Shakespeare. You're thinking that the Shakespeare has enough to say to the Filipino. And pwedeng oo, kasi di ba
Sometimes you just celebrate the language of Shakespeare. Pero ganun lang.
Parang first level appreciation din na parang universal human nature, people were in love, teenagers defied their parents, yung ganon. So nandun ka lang sa Harold Bloom level of Shakespeare. As opposed to what Ricky did with his Shakespeare is push it forward and really make it mean not parang secondary lang yung what Shakespeare meant for his audience, what Shakespeare might mean to universal human nature. That was secondary to what Shakespeare could possibly mean make us be meaningful for us, explain to us. Diba? Tignan mo yung ginawa niya sa Taming of the Shrew. Paano yung wife beating and and sort of this arranged marriage because Taming the Shrew is a very hard play to put on in the 21st century. The play is, it's about abuse.
And if I might interject lang, Dr. Ik, no? Itong pagpapaamo ng Maldita na dinirect ni Dr. Abad ay translate ni Ron Capinding.
Oh, yes. Wow. Multi-talented talaga.
But I was a part of that. Yung buntis ang asawa ko na, pero that's my participation there. Di ko nga napanood dyan. But that's one of the greatest plays daw ni Ricky.
Yeah. Kasi nga, ang ginawa niya, problematic yung play na yan especially now, parang you're gonna force a woman into marriage, you're gonna starve her, beat her up, so she'll agree. Pero Ricky made it work to explain, ito ginawa ng American colonial sa Pilipinas. Benevolent assimilation. Diba? Brilliant. Diba? Kasi yung benevolent assimilation is just a phrase from our history class. Here, it's sort of embodied by Ricky in this play. And the complicated sort of nature of that relationship really sheds light on our history. Yun yung pinagkaiba. That level of insight.
He was able to use his stagings of the classic play to question and explore, problematize the Philippine reality. It wasn't just about language.
Yes. And it wasn't just about, because this is universal truth. It's not that. That's only one level of it. It's more than that.
I just support bago magpatuloy si Judy. Nung sinasabi ni Judy, in fact, sa yabang kong ito, mayabang naman akong tao, no? Aaminin ko, kahit napilitin ko, that I cannot direct like Ricky. Big sabi kahit gusto ko mag-Filipino Shakespeare versus Shakespeare in Filipino because ang background ko when I direct is a philosophy. So okay sa akin ng mga existentialism, absurdist, ganyan-ganyan, no? Pero yung the fact that sociology siya, he can easily do those connections. Halimbawa ikaw, Missy, literature ba? Ano mo? Pero kung kahit na gusto mong ituloy yung legacy ni Ricky, mag-aaral ka talaga mabuti. Yung kanyang wealth of understanding and knowledge, medyo iba. Inisip ko na sino papalit sa kanya. May mga magagaya akong style, pero that particular element, yung sinasabi ni Judy, medyo yung maisip yung taming of the shrew as this, tapos maisip din, parang it also takes that discipline that Ricky was so immersed in, yung sociology and the way he is pa, the way he goes to the demographic, hindi ko naman ginagawa masyado yun. So that is a very unique equipment and power ni Ricky pag gumagawa siya ng play. So hindi it's
Would,
just a
would
matter
you
na sino papalit. Sino ba? Sino pa bang sociologist or
would you
medyo
mean
ganyan?
to say, Sir Ron, would you mean to say na what Ricky did, which is to foreground
Yeah.
the Filipino reality,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that means, diba?
yeah,
The urgency, the
yeah,
issues,
yeah.
the way things are being done contemporarily, using the classical material, whether it's Shakespeare or anything else that he did, to bring it together to ground us in what we need to deal with, the truth of today. That's what Ricky did, right? With the material, with his art, using all of his tools as an academic and a scholar to convey that which is important to us so that we can confront it. Now, and you're talking about
Not always to. Hindi, in fact, universal din naman ang sinasabi ng Shakespeare. Pero ang ginagawa kasi ni Ricky, intindihin nga natin itong sinasabi ni Shakespeare sa paraang maiintindihan natin. So, hindi siya nagsasabi ng message ni Shakespeare sa Filipino. Walang message ni Shakespeare sa Filipino. Let's look at what Shakespeare is talking about. And this is an insight that is so good for Filipino if only we tweak it this way. Parang ganun ang nakikita kong ginagawa niya. Like, halimbawa, yung discrimination sa Merchant of Venice. Bakit kaya dalawang version naging English yung mga Christians, tapos Filipino kaming mga Muslims doon, tapos ang dami niyang naisip na gano'n. So I could have easily just, discrimination na, pero empty naman yun siguro sa atin, yung discrimination. Pero nung ginawa ni Ricky, oh my God, yun yung mga social. So luminaw talagang gano'n. So it's not necessarily what Shakespeare wants to convey. Nandiyan na yan, existing eh. But it's the Filipinos will need to hear this, but they are not able to hear it kung ganito mo sasabihin eh. Dapat you will appreciate and understand it by doing by using these optics, the symbols, these elements. So
Baka
yun
naman
para Shakespeare for Filipino talaga. Hindi
baka
Shakespeare
naman
2.
pwede, diba? Baka naman pwedeng i-incorporate itong mga bagay na ito sa pag-unawa ng ating kalagayan. And on our own platform, on our own capacity and level and whatever.
So it takes two. Alam, naintindihan niya yung Shakespeare, tapos naintindihan niya yung Filipino, si Ricky, and so he is able to bring it up customized way, in a customized way na parang sapul na sapul. It's so Pinoy.
So how do we continue this, Ron?
Exactly. Kaya sabi ko, how did you influence your professional? Well, gayahin mo yung mga no boundaries and tempering it, pero yung part na yon, parang wala, magkakasya na lang tayo sa style natin. Mas filo siguro ako at mas pop culture, ganun. Pero si Ricky has that sophistication that conceit ng tawag nila, yung sociology. So I don't.
So ikaw, you recommend to really lean into your expertise,
yes,
diba?
yes, because hindi mo rin magagaya eh. So
How about
gagayahin mo
you,
kay
Dr.
Ricky to be passionate, to really have insights sa play mo. Pero sa kanya, yung sociological insights, kaya mas pwedeng for Filipinos. Kasi Philo for Filipinos, hindi mo din naman Ricky has that pero may pareho siyang aptitude dun sa dalawa. So he can easily do that. Kaya tuwa si Judy. Nakikita niya. Yeah.
What do you think, Dr. Judy?
Okay, couple of things. And there's another dimension also to what Ron was saying about explaining in Shakespeare for Filipinos and for Filipino audiences. And it didn't stop there. Kasi when Ricky would bring his plays abroad, it would be very appreciated by Shakespeareans and other audiences abroad because they Ricky made them see Shakespeare in new ways. And that's an incredible thing to do when you're talking about the most produced playwright on this planet with over 400 years of production. That's an incredible thing to do. But Ricky was able to do that. And I've heard so many international scholars talk about how Ricky, made Shakespeare new. And he made him new by making him Filipino. Not by trying to be Stratford, So talagang iba yung approach niya. Now, to the question of how do you continue this? I mean, a couple of things I think we learned from Ricky, at least for me, that really stand out. One is what I was saying, this kind of creativity and courage that Ricky really had in droves, I mean, we would spend, nag-mention si Ron kanina na talking to the wee hours of the morning. Ricky and I used to be like that, especially before I got married and had children, no? Because we would, remember, Ron, we would have parties in our house in Santa Ana, and Ricky would leave at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. My mom would be like, may araw na, nandiyan pa kayo. Kasi nga, we would just be talking and talking and talking about all kinds of ideas.
Sarap na sarap sa
Oo,
kwentuhan.
di ba? At saka ideas lang, ideas. Parang, di ba maganda, gawa tayo ng ganito, ganyan. So gano'n, that kind of courage and wildness is important. I think the other thing that Ricky teaches us is the power of collaboration. Kasi hindi lang naman, I mean, there's this idea, that, Ricky's this genius who can put it all together. But see, it's not that. Ricky talked to a lot of people. I mean, a lot of his ideas about plays, at his wake, I mentioned years of emails. A lot of those emails were about his plays and about ideas like, oh, Judy, I want to do this, I want to do that. Do you think this will work? Do you think that will work? Or sometimes when I send him drafts of papers, I write about his work, and then he'll say, shit, ang galing mo, nakita mo lahat yun, ginawa ko lahat yun. And I'd be like, Ricky, aminin mo na lang na ginawa mo. Sabihin na lang natin na para magaling ka. But the point is, it's collaborative, really. Okay, and so no one of us will replace Ricardo Abad because no one is uniquely made that way. But I think this idea of collaborating, of getting people together, and Ricky was very welcome to do. He co-directed with so many directors, senior and junior. He was all about getting people to work together. So I think this kind of collaborative, creative spirit. One of the things he last talked to me about was like he wanted to put a performance lab, of just actors, theater makers, where everything was possible. Yun yung kanya Love Slavers Lost na K-pop, ganyan. O, di ba? Yung mga ganyan na wild lang.
Pero Judy, I just say, yung ginagawa niya, medyo hindi masyadong ginagawa yung iba yung collaboration na ganyan. Kasi hindi insecure si Ricky rin.
Hindi nga.
So, kasi iba parang may turf, di ba? Parang siya, let's get this.
I don't think he subscribes to that auteur the auteur genre of theater director at all. In fact, that's what I found very, very refreshing about Ricky when I first met Ricky, was that. Of course, iba. Kasi iba yung experience ko with Ricky was in professional theater Because my understanding is in TA, iba din siya. Diba? So, I really don't know. But
ako, collaboration lang namin. Actor only you can do that, Ron. Kaya pwede ba? Sabihin, but I think alam niya rin ng mga, kahit hindi niya masyado alam yung eagle na yan, but alam niya yung concept, parang maganda gawin. And
he's very passionate, he's very collaborative, he's very insightful, and parang by what you're sharing, it would be good to continue his legacy by starting with that, by leaning into what we feel passionately about and allowing our collaborations to bring us to new perspectives grounded in the reality of that which is right in front of us, no? And because we have a few minutes left, pwede ba kaming makahingi sa inyo ng pabaon, no? Pwede niyo bang sabihin sa mga bisita natin by yung inyong pabaon by completing this statement? Baka naman pwede. Who would like to go first? Si Ron Capinding
Hindi,
daw,
hindi,
sabi
wala
ni
pa ako.
Tweet.
Hindi ko pa alam.
Ang
Iniisip ko
ang
pa.
dami kong thought bubble nang sasabihin ni Ron Capinding eh. Hindi nung sasabihin.
Sige nga, Dr. Ik. Ano
Baka
yung
naman
maging
pwede
pwede
lahat tayo maging parang Ron Capinding. De, joke.
Or baka naman pwedeng lahat tayo maging tulad ni Dr. Ricky Abad na hindi insecure sa art, na very collaborative and passionate.
Ako di ko alam. Ano ba sagot mo dyan? Ano ba sagot mo dyan, Judy? Ikaw na mauna. Baka...
Well, ako ang sagot ko is ang takeaway ko from Ricky is what Missy is starting to say is this idea of being open to collaboration, and I mean real collaboration, not I'll utos you and call this collaboration.
Yeah.
Interdisciplinarity. Like I was saying, kami ni Ricky, mga PhD namin, academic degrees namin, hindi naman sa theater eh. Diba? So parang you bring across all kinds of disciplines, all kinds of knowledge. And yun, the creativity, the fearlessness, but always policed by your footnotes. You know what I'm saying? Hindi kasing gagawin ko to kasi ganyan. Hindi. Si Ricky mahaba mag footnotes, social scientist yan eh. Ang training sa social scientist, di ba, paramihan ng footnote. So Ricky had that too. So yun, maybe no one person can be like that. But I think there are enough people around to sort of bring in different parts of that. Kasi if there's anything to learn from Ricky, it's really that set your ego aside and learn to collaborate. And learn from people who are from a totally different field than you, because there's always something to pick up from elsewhere.
Baka
naman pwede. Intellectual humility, ganyan. Fearlessness, ganyan. Marami naman, baka naman pwede. Ayan, Ron Capinding, sagutin mo na ngayon.
So, I agree with Judy totally, and I resonate what she said. Pero kung pwede kong...
copying!
Pero kung pwede kong dagdagan, pero ito yung una ko naisip kayo bago si Judy, na-insecure lang akong sabihin, no? Baka naman pwede, kasi kala ko dapat audacious to, kaya baka naman pwede, no? Baka naman pwede na itanghal talaga siyang Panglaw ng Lahi awardee or national artist, kailanman yun, no? Not for his sake, no? But if only to elevate and put in the spotlight this brand of artistry na may science at arts at kung ano nagagawa niya into para magawa. Kasi kailangan maipagdiwang at makita. Sabi natin na insecure tayong gayahin. Parang maraming tumingin at parang ako yan Yung di ba parang tayo rin lang naka-witness, and since we feel a little incomplete or insecure to capture the full of Ricky, then maybe we'll have to elevate and we'll have to put that model in a pedestal. Ang kaibang kasi ni Ricky, nasa campus siya, hindi siya masyadong at tsaka yun pa, nag-aagawan yung sociology, Metrobank Teacher Award yan. Sa sociology, emeritus siya. So, lahat ng yun, baka mamaya yung theater niya ay na-underestimate. When in fact, it can be a paragon of a theater that is internationally appreciated and which would give us a better brand dito sa Pilipinas kung meron lang tayo mas marami pang tulad niya. So, baka naman pwede, ilagay nga natin siya dyan sa pwedeng, hindi naman political, no? Di sa Ateneo, Taglaw ng Lahi, or sa national artist, marami pa siguro iba pa who would magnify and really talk about. Maraming efforts ngayon. May book na sinasabi how he does things. Iniipon lahat ng mga director's notes niya. Iba-ibang initiative, no? Si Missy, nag-iipon din ng mga messages and eulogies. So baka mamaya that is the way to go, no? Kasi Ricky, bago mamatay, sinasabi niya, I want to write a book before, Nagawa naman yata niya yung mga books na yun. Sa dami ng sinabi niya, I want to write a book. But I think there's also a yearning within him to perpetuate and immortalize ideas, no? Kahit hindi na siya. So, maybe one big step. Baka naman
pwedeng gamitin ang karangalan sa sining bilang paraan ng pag-angat ng ating pagtingin sa sarili. Now, that's what I'm understanding from what you're saying, Sir Ron. If we should endow or bestow Dr. Abad with an award. Sana it is a way. It will be not it sana, but it will be something that will elevate our perception of our own art because that's
Yes,
what we
yes.
did. No?
Not just elevate and provide, no? Kasi once you zoom in and you will get, ay, pwede pala yun, pwede pala yun. So, sino na ba nagbubuklat ng mga tungkol kay Ricky? Talaga uungkatin yan pag napunta siya doon eh. Ito mga sinusulat ni Judy, pinapalapakan ng mga taga-ibang bansa si Ricky. Tayo, hindi natin nababasa. So, I'd like to put a lens or to magnify it by giving him a title like that para aralin talaga siya ng mga seryoso. Okay.
Oo. So baka naman pwedeng ituloy natin ang pag-aral natin ng with a scientific or social or otherwise
style na to, no?
background.
Tong brand na to ng paggawa ng pangalan.
And to see literature interculturally and interdisciplinarily and to really be collaborative with each other, set aside egos if that's humanly possible because parang si Ricky is beyond human. Well, he is now. Now he has a seated
Spore nga siya, di ba? Spore.
And yun naman po. So
Paano nga ba, Judy, no? Parang, what's next? So dapat talaga mag-huddle tayo, no? Magkwentuhan tayo palagi ng ganito if only to...
Oo naman. Oo naman, parang the spirit, kumbaga, the Abadjan spirit yan. May Abadjan spirituality na tayo. Invento ko na 5 C's dyan. Go.
5 A's. Kasi may C's sa Ignacio. 5 A's.
Abad spirit.
Sige nga, go Ron. What's the first A?
Doon galing yung sadness mo eh.
Audacity is the first A.
Audacity. Oh, Ron, what's the second A?
Akin yung audacity, ako nagsabi nun.
So, sige, academic.
Academic. Tapos artistic, di ba?
Oy, mauubos ang oras ni Missy. Nag-iisip.
4. Dalawa pa. So,
hindi mo pala, alam ko, akla. Di ba? Akla.
Meaning out of the box, di ba? Out of the box. And 5th. Amazing.
Associations.
Amazing associations.
Amazing.
Lovely. That's wonderful. Meron pa tayong 3 minutes before we start saying goodbye to everybody. Meron tayong shout out from our friends Joel Macaventa and Yanni Yuzon, who are also very close collaborators with Dr. Abad. Kayo po ba? Meron po ba kayong gustong...
Ako, gusto ko na sabihin sa program na ito, IPC ito, pero ang dahil pinag-usapan ng sociology. Inimbita tayo ng IPC, not for their IPC, but for arts. No? Pero doon din tayo mauuwi yung kanyang epekto sa buong kultura. Gusto ko lang sabihin, napaka-personal, na mimiss ko talaga si Ricky, especially pag nag-uusap tayong ganito. And siguro kasama sa lungkot ko yung lungkot para dun sa mga hindi masyadong nakaranas sa kanya. Sana mas marami pang nakasalamuha si Ricky because may marob man lang partially ng mga Ricky qualities na yun. So malaking ambag na yun sa hinaharap. Yun siguro. Judy.
Thank you, Ron. How about Miss Judy?
I'm sorry.
Any last day? We're just using up 3 minutes or 2 minutes.
Just I guess to the point of Ricky's legacy, I think this program is a good start. All the initiatives, the first shrift in Ricky's name is a good idea. Ateneo should have a Ricky Abad Memorial Shakespeare lecture April every year. If you're funding people anyway to come, and we can bring in his collaborators from around the world. And yes to Ron's idea of a national award, of course. Here's a Filipino director who's been celebrated in like India, Vietnam, Belarus, Segovia, kung saan. But also Subic, Mindanao, Visayas. I mean, di ba? Obvious ba? Bohol. Di ba? Kahit nasabihin mong, kasi nga trapped in the Ateneo campus, but not really, because when you look at Ricky's outreach, it's pretty wide.
Oh my God, sana hindi natin pag-usapan na, may bilibid, may ganyan, may mga pare, lahat.
Correct. So parang it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. But of course, a lot of paperwork and a lot of politics. But I hope that
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede. Right. So he did. You mentioned. Can you? Because it's important before we say goodbye.
Yes, because
He did theater with. Believe me.
we did role players, and role players was supposed to bring theater. Isa siya sa founders yan, bring theater sa mga hindi makaka-theater, no? So yung Philippine, meron pa kaming this work with the barangays, na meron yung mga
LGUs,
bata, LGUs, and meron na rin kaming storytelling for homiletics, yung mga pare, So lahat ng yan, these are programs dahil sa mission ng role players na siya nagtatag. I think ang ano nga yung theater for life, and you mean that for a lot of ways, no? For life. So gusto ibigay, feeling niya is liberating to do theater, empowering. So kaya niya gusto iregalo yun sa mga sulok na baka hindi nakakatikim nun. So yeah, marami. At marami kaming outreach, no? Mga scholars, may mga matatalinong estudyante na scholars sa college pero minsan pumapalpak dahil sa interview. So bigyan natin yan ng ano para lang magkaroon ng confidence because matatalino yan eh. So these are the kinds of needs that Ricky is paying attention to. So maraming gano'n, if only I can list all of them. So hindi ko nabanggit masyado. Yun nga, so no-brainer. Tama si Judy. Bigyan nyo na yan. Sino pa ba yung ganyan? Parang gano'n sa akin. Sino man yung nag-iisip. And I think it will be a service to the nation to really put the spotlight on him. Okay? Yeah. Because hindi naman siya nasa spotlight na siya. Normally, nasa sa ibang bansa. No? Pero tayo hindi masyado.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And so, as we end this lovely conversation in honor of Dr. Abad, we do invite everyone to attend his 40th day. Ron, would you like to give
Yes. So Abad of all ages. Tama?
Yes.
Abad
for the ages. Abad for the ages. Ano ka ba? Start for all seasons ka na naman eh.
Abad for all the ages.
Ricky Abad is for the ages. Okay.
Abad for the ages. You also understand once you watch bakit kami into ages, no? Bakit anong framing ang gagawin natin. Of course, it's so hard to capture the whole phenomenon of Ricky Abad in one show, but we'll try our best. So it's on February 4, 3 p.m. It will be preceded by a mass. We're just wondering if the mass is in Hyundai Theater where the program will be or at a separate place. But so bandang 2 p.m., 1:30 p.m. is the mass for his 40th. And then after that, Hyundai Theater, the program it's around 3 or 3:30 p.m. of that Sunday. So sana nandun lahat. Yeah.
Kailangan ba close kami kay Dr. Abad para mag-attend nung kanyang 40th? Hindi ba kadyahe kung naman namin siya naka-work?
Well, ang practicality lang, no? 880 seats naman yon. So marami naman sa close kay Ricky Abad na kaedad niya, wala na rin. So marami na at okay, hindi maka-attend dahil nagpapahinga, ganyan, no? So marami namang spasyo kasi tayo, natutuwa tayo na sana marami talagang makakilala sa kanya kahit dyan man lang, kahit na vicariously dun sa palabas natin, no? But sa natin ba kayo, we're planning streaming. So it's open to...
Naniniwala ako sa'yo, Sir Ron. Naniniwala ako sa'yo na pumaparty sila sa Heaven with Sir Badong, with the other collaborators he had.
We have seats for VIPs pero hindi naman din nga ganun karami rin yun. So ang dami pa nating upuan.
And to the point na kung hindi nyo nakatrabaho si Dr. Abad directly, nakatrabaho nyo siya indirectly by working with his students, with his collaborators, by working with a passion in your heart for the arts and merging it with whatever interdisciplinary approach you have,
and through organizations he helped establish or supported, no? So
like Arete, for
example. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Dr. Judy. Anything?
No, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Of course, we could talk about Ricky forever. And
yes, kaya nga after gusto ko, Judy, kita nga tayo.
Oo nga. Hindi naman to last time. And of course, marami tayong planong moving forward, 'di ba? And how to how to continue this legacy. Because of course, Ricky showed us how. Sayang naman if we let it drop, di ba? So thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you,
and
Missy. Thank you sa IPC.
Thank you.
Kay Dr. Lidio Leviste for contacting us initially. No? Salamat. Okay.
Maraming salamat po. Dito po nagtatapos ang Baka Naman Pwede. Maraming salamat muli kina Sir Ronan Capinding at Dr. Judy para sa pagpapaunlak sa aming imbitasyon. Baka naman pwede nyo ring i-like ang Institute of Philippine Culture sa Facebook para sa iba pa naming announcement at events. Hanggang sa susunod, ako po si Missy Maramara mula sa IPC. Patuloy tayong mag-ingat at laging tandaan kung may gustong maunawaan, ano naman pwede nating pag-usapan. Salamat po and have a lovely afternoon. Hanggang sa ulitin.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede. Mga isyung napapanahon, ating pag-usapan. Baka naman pwede. Gamit ang mga pananaw mula sa iba't ibang kalinangan.
Baka naman pwede.
Mula sa Institute of Philippine Culture, kami inyong samahan, tayo'y maghuntahan. Dito lang sa Baka naman pwede. Tuwing Huwebes, alas 3 ng hapon, dito lang sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.